Samantha Bark's acting was pretty good, but her singing voice was fantastic. I thought her acting while singing was awesome. You have to scooch over some more because you're over to the side. So that was another good part. And I thought just performances as a whole were okay. Russell Crowe's acting was good, but his singing was not very good because you could see, but he was trying. You could see that he was really trying to get it right. But performance-wise was the only good part of that movie. Everything else, remotely technical, was abhorrent.
Can I speak?
Go ahead. Destroy it.
I'm fairly well acquainted with the source material.
I'm not. I'm just going purely based off the film. That's my thing.
I realize that film, as a structuralist, should be able to stand on its own, and that I think is a large problem for this film. If I keep hearing people say
pacing, I'm gonna vomit when I hear the word pacing in the movie.
If I keep hearing someone say that Les Miserables took place during the French Revolution, I'm probably going to punch them in the face. This film had no I will probably link you to my full review, which is like 2,200 words long, mind you. But every time I just want to punch them. This film had no context, and that is a really, really big issue for Les Mis as a story. Its political context is very important to the story. Victor Hugo wrote the novel as part of a response to the June Rebellion of 1832. He was writing that within that time. The musical still retains that, the stage musical still retains some of that political context. It lessens it a little bit in favor of the character dynamics, but it's still there. The fact that even after the musical, and now this film adaptation, people are still referring to it as the French Revolution, I think is a huge problem. I think that's a
It even says it in the fucking movie, where it says, takes place at this time in this place, which is not context by any means. It's not context.
But
at least it tells you, and they still think it takes that way, which is a huge problem. It can't do that.
Another issue is that, in terms of context, is that while it does give you some text on screen, it doesn't actually fill you in. It doesn't give you a brief primer in terms of character relations and the June Rebellion. So a couple lyrics from ABC Cafe is not context, and it's also through a very thick Cockney accent. So I thought that was a large issue. I was not a big fan of the performances, except for Anne Hathaway, which I thought was transcendent, very reminiscent of Renee Falconetti in Passion of Joan of Arc.
Next, before we talk about cinematography, we're talking we have to both get puke buckets, because it'll make us throw up if we think about it anymore.
I should turn the camera on its side and give it... And
wait, have us be really over here with dead space everywhere.
Yes.
Oh.
Dutch angles everywhere. Tom Cooper has made me hate Dutch angles. I love them in The Third Man, though. Third Man. Great film.
The things he does are fine when they're done right, and used sparingly.
No, I've never done right, though.
I know, that's the point, though. I'm saying, when they're done... And even if they're used sparingly in a film, you can excuse them, even if they're not done okay. But... they're not done okay.
Not at all.
They're not at all. I mean, you don't just leave empty space everywhere. And there are rules for directing a musical. You show the entire body and the entire performance when you're singing. Sweeney Todd is a perfect example of that.
Fred Astaire had this rule where he would not let the cameraman or the director shoot him in close-ups because he wanted to get the entire performance, as an essence. And that was just... not done.
Because when you watch a theater performance, you see the entire thing. That's what you're supposed to be.
I understand what he was trying to do artistically in that creating an intimacy between the audience and the character, but the actor should be able to do that on his or her own, just through the performance. Battery's dying.
Do you have a plug-in thing?
No.
Really? How do you know the battery's dying? Oh, really? This is not going to work out. How are we going to do this?
We can start recording on the other one.
Okay, we can. Is it plugged in? Are you plugged it in?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Link's just awful. And for a second, cinematography actually made me angry in the theater. I was writing down notes. Shaky cam, I mean, really? This is not your Dogma 95 musical. Dancer in the Dark. Yeah. But it's just painful. There was a 5-minute span where I said, okay, I kind of understand why people like it. And then that 5-minute span, like...
No, I get why people like it, because it's very emotional, or...
It's manipulative. It's emotionally manipulative.
Yeah, it's making you... Like, I came out of the theater thinking it was a good movie, and then I went home and thought about it and said, what am I doing to myself? it's like you're very right. It's very emotionally manipulative. It's making you think it's a good movie when it's not. And that's why I think it's a movie. I would rather see Beasts of the Southern Wild win Best Picture before Les Mis because it has some more interesting direction. The shaky cam works. It's the director I thought did an okay job. It wasn't bad in that sense. I just didn't prefer the film. But if Les Mis wins Best Picture, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself because there are so many more deserving films just on this list alone. It's appalling.
Okay.
Cut.